then yes, I believe it is. Should be streaming. Is it doing? Okay, I'll see. I'll see. We do not appear to be live yet. So no. Oh, yeah, no, they can hear us on Discord, definitely, but I don't know. I don't see anything live on your channel. I mean, it was just Undoomed, just the channel Undoomed that we're going for. Yeah. So yeah, I don't see anything live on your channel at the moment. Aha. They can hear me, but not you.
Okay. How about now?
I mean, it sounds good to me. I can hear you fine.
Yeah. Let's see if they can hear me now. I hear nothing. Well, there is a lag.
Yeah, there's undoubtedly lag. There you are. I think they can hear you.
All right. Well, that was a hoot.
Yeah, that was a lot more work than it probably needed to be.
Jesus Christ, it's been fucking months since I did this shit. I usually just go with a Google Hangout, but obviously those things have been fucking up lately as well.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. It was all coming up rosy on my end, so I didn't know what else I could do, you know.
Yeah. It's just the way it is. It's they've been doing this stuff for a long time, or a couple of months now, where if you're more than 4 or 5 people on a stream, the last guy who comes in can't hear the previous guy who came in.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's a common.
Oh, no, we had a problem with that on our D&D streams actually.
Right.
Yeah, no, we did have a problem with that on the D&D streams. Like, who knows what the hell's going on?
Yeah, I guess they've just stopped, all support and because they're probably gonna take that shit away now that they're taking away Google Plus stuff, and then it's probably
Yeah.
a huge overhead in computer processing for them to keep that up. So it'll probably be like if you want to do it, you're gonna have to do it with OBS in the future. I'm guessing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind. I'm happy to use OBS, but
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I just have to get fucking used to it.
yeah. Yeah, you really do.
Yeah, yeah. This is probably my second time ever using it, so you'll have to excuse me.
Right.
Anyway,
Well, yeah. Don't worry
that
about it.
that's the way it is. Anyway, I just thought we'd talk a little bit about the election and all that, and you know, first of all, I guess my first question would be, can you win? Do you?
No. No,
No,
definitely not.
you
Um,
don't have a chance.
no, because I'm second on the list. So there's a chance that UKIP would get one, but I really don't think they're going to get two in the current environment.
Hmm.
So definitely not. But
Is
to be
there a?
honest with you, I'm very happy with that. Holy shit! Imagine how
Yeah.
scary it'd be if I actually won. The person I think actually has odds of winning is Tommy.
Okay. Is he running for UKIP too, or?
No, no, no. He's not a member of UKIP because of various rules. So he's standing independently in the
Hmm. Hmm.
northwest. And man, I've been watching his videos. He's pulling out big crowds. I mean, I'm getting big crowds in the southwest,
Hmm.
but he's pulling big fucking crowds.
Yeah, that's kind of
So
what he
I,
does, right?
yeah, yeah, it is. And so I would be very, very interested in seeing. I think it's the Sunday. I think the results come out
Hmm.
because the entire EU has to vote, and they do it in like the course of a week. So we'll find out Sunday. But I really hope he wins, just because that'll be man. I just can't even imagine the meltdown if he wins.
That would be
Like I
some
don't.
serious salt.
They're going to be so pissed off.
Oh yeah.
Like, they're going to be so
Oh yeah.
angry. Like
Can you
Tommy
imagine?
Robinson MEP. That's gonna just they're gonna pitch fits
Oof.
constantly. Just constant bitch fits day after. I mean, he'll be able to get up and say anything he wants.
Yeah.
Like, gonna,
And they'll have to listen because
yeah,
it's the European Parliament and all that.
yeah. If it apparently matters, then okay. Well, let's see what Tommy Robinson MEP has to say about it. So yeah, I really hope he wins. We'll probably get crushed, but fuck it. Well, at least we gave it a shot in there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, as far as I understand, you don't really want to be there, right?
No, no, God no. We're supposed to have left the European Union 3 years ago.
Yeah, so it's more of a
So,
protest thing to do it.
well, yeah, yeah, of course. But it's one of those sort of like, this shouldn't even be possible. This is something we should have left a long time ago. There should be nothing for us to do here, and yet we're still here. So,
Yeah, that is. I mean, you've probably been over this 1,000 times, but yeah, obviously, um, Theresa May, she has not carried out her assignment, has she?
no, she just surrendered. She just
Yeah.
turned around and said, "Fine. What deal would you like, Master?" And the European Union said, "Perfect. We'll have you do exactly as we want." And it's like, "Oh, great. Okay." Well, it's bad stuff, and she was, in my opinion, she was effectively just negotiating on behalf of the European Union. There really wasn't that much to say about it. To be honest, it was just bad. Everyone rejected it 3 times,
Hmm.
and then eventually, like the things, the Conservatives are so like stubborn about literally everything because they're a very old party and it's kind of bred into them. Um, they they're very they're very conscious of the sanctity of their party as well as anything else. And so you'll notice they will fall in line, and they did for Theresa May for years. Jacob Rees-Mogg had nothing but wonderfully polite things to say about his dear comrade, or dear colleague, and it's like, yeah, okay. No one really believes that. You know she's fucking terrible. Everyone knows she's terrible, but
Yeah.
because the Conservatives are the Conservatives, they labour on with her anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it was very funny to see, though, that, everyone celebrated when she left.
Yeah.
It was not just it was not just labor. It was the conservatives too. It was like, oh my god, everyone wanted you gone.
Yeah, she was not popular.
Oh man, yeah, but
She'd done a really bad job. She
yeah,
had a
yeah,
really, really bad job. Because the thing is, like, the fear of no deal, as in just leaving and then not having a deal, so we've got to work out a bunch of new trade deals with other people. They're going, oh, it costs like something like 6 to 10% of the economy or something like that. So
mhm.
okay, all right, let's assume it does. Is independence not worth that? I think it is. I think it's more than worth that.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's pretty much what I assumed. Like, okay, I think everyone understands this is there's gonna be a hit on your economy, but that's fucking fine. Sometimes you have to take a hit to
Well, what
have
choice
something
do you
nice.
have?
Yeah. I mean,
But after, after it's happened, and then we can work on making things better, and then we can just keep going. It's just up to us from that point.
yeah, yeah. I
So
mean,
I
it's the
don't, I
same
don't know.
thing
I
for
don't get all the fear, man. It's like,
it's yeah, it's the same thing for your private economy. Sometimes you have to take a hit. You have to pay for something really expensive because you really wanted it. That's fine. You're
yeah.
gonna live off of ramen noodles for 2 months, but what the fuck? Then it's done.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, imagine if you lived next to someone who you just found utterly abominable, and you just for your own personal happiness, you had to move. It'd be worth the money.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, I don't really understand that. But anyway, how's it
Well,
been?
basically, they're dimmies of the European Union. They love being told what to do by someone else, and they love paying for the privilege.
Well,
That's
here's
the
the
thing.
thing. Here's what I don't understand. Why do they love giving away their power? I thought they were like, aren't politicians supposed to be power hungry?
Well, I imagine in previous eras they probably were when there was something to be won, but I think now it's essentially just kind of gravy train for moral grandstanding.
Mm-hmm.
These people go, "Oh, we're the most moral people." Blah blah blah. It's like, look, dude. I don't think any politician's a particularly moral person, frankly. But B, I don't care. I don't need you to be like moral exemplars. I need you to run the country well. I don't care if Winston Churchill fucking got drunk and was insulting to women. I don't give a fuck. He beat the Nazis. He. uh,
Right,
can
right.
we have a bit of efficacy as a slight in like consideration? That's the thing. It's not about like anything that's actually effective. It's all about what sounds nice, and it's like, okay, but
Yeah,
we have to understand we have limits.
a little more enlightened self-interest would be good.
Well, yes, exactly. It's there's nothing wrong with being sensible,
Mm-hmm.
frankly.
No, no, no. Of course, and yeah, it seems like the only thing they're doing is just trying to virtue signal. They're not actually doing something that would be good for your country. They just want to look
Oh yeah,
good.
and I think they're aware of this too. Like I think they are actually aware. They just don't care, because it's not going to affect them.
Yeah,
So it's not. They don't think about it like actually in terms of the actual effects of things. They look at it in terms of GDP,
right.
right? Because then it's like, okay, but what's the bigger number? It's like, yeah, okay, listen, right? I'm sure we could get a really big number if we just enslaved everyone and forced them to do the government's bidding. We'd have unbelievable. I mean, like there'd be zero unemployment because we would make them fucking work. But is that really the kind of society we want to become? And that's really the sort of question that needs to be asked when it comes to like mass migration.
Right.
Does Are we happy that our countries even exist? And mass migration is kind of an indication that we're not.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of a really weird type of self erasure, I guess. You're well, not just you. Most fucking
Yeah.
Western nations on the planet are trying to commit cultural suicide, I guess.
Well, they really are, aren't they? I mean, the United States gets 1 million new people in a year, which is a huge number.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you guys are really lucky because you've got a kind of philosophy of integration.
Mm-hmm.
This is, you can come here and become an American. So there's a purpose. There's something to attain.
They are trying to destroy that now, though. So
They are, but the thing is, we never had that. There was never. That's not that. That's a very sort of Roman way of thinking about it, and I guess Europe's kind of just a different place.
Hmm.
So, we don't, there's not that kind of cultural pressure there. And I think it's a problem for Europe, frankly. And I think
Yeah.
this is a point that Douglas Murray makes, and I think he's absolutely correct on it.
Yeah, I mean, it would be really helpful to have that kind of integration that we've had up until now for Europe, but I am concerned that it is going away, even here. That all this talk about cultural appropriation and all that, it's just
Hmm.
okay. What is the point of having multiculturalism if you can't partake?
Good question. Like, if well, that's the thing. And the term like white people have no culture. It's like, listen, dude. Like, non-white people view what you call white people as having a culture and being a culture.
Hmm.
They totally do. And so you can read this in any the way they talk about like white people. They view them as having a culture. So don't say that we've got no culture. What you're saying is that because it's often like someone like Robin DiAngelo, right? She's a Catholic, so not specifically. I'm trying to make the distinction, not Jewish, right? So Irish descent probably,
Hmm.
Catholic, and I mean not Jewish specifically because then it's a particular sort of cultural divide. They self-identify as Jewish and white, so it's not just sort of like white. But she's, talking about things like manners as a form of oppression, because essentially what they do is set us up in on like a different moral plane to people who don't use them. Which when I say that, she means black people. That's what she's thinking of, black people, right?
Hmm.
And so they consider like that they can turn that into manners are white supremacy.
Right, but that's just a soft bigotry of low expectations, right there.
Yes, it is. Yeah, but that's how they do it, right? And so that's how you end up with oh god, what was that thing the other day? Oh, the veneration of books.
Right.
Venerating the written word is a form of white supremacy. I'm like, okay, fine.
Okay.
Like, what do you want me to,
Yeah,
Jesus Christ, okay.
anything is white
Yeah,
supremacy then, I guess. Like,
exactly. Anything that Westerners do is white supremacy. So anything that they say, oh, that's white supremacy, what they mean is that's Western culture.
yeah, but what about the Chinese? They're the one who invented it.
Well, there's a lot of white supremacy in China by their definition. And honestly, I read, I did a Thinkery video today about this woman, the black woman who's dating in Asia. And she was like, they're very obsessed with whiteness here. So, God, you're
What?
just never going to get away from it, no matter where you go, apparently. It's whiteness everywhere. Everything is whiteness. But what they mean is standards. They mean a kind of like standards.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you have to have standards, otherwise it's
Yeah.
anarchy.
But what they're trying to do is essentially justify not having standards. So the cultural degradation and collapse of some communities, ethnic communities, isn't a display of their failure.
Hmm.
They're very concerned about this because then that's not equality.
Well, there you go with that. Just being interested in how things look. That
Well,
is
yeah,
that is. Yeah, I mean, it used to be that politicians could take, um, they could have some sort of thing that was really hard to do when they did it, and they didn't give a damn about the optics of it because it had to be done. That would never happen now.
no, no. The optics of the thing are everything.
Yeah, so that's kind of scary in itself. Anyway, I guess
Yes.
speaking of optics, how about those smear campaigns, huh?
Oh, they've been quite gentle, really. I imagine the next time I run for something, it'll be way worse.
Well, I mean,
Like I don't know what they could say that's worse, but
well, I know you had thick skin before, but what do you have now?
oh man, fucking rhino skin. I'm telling you, you see, like when they first talk about it, you say, "Oh my god," and then nothing happens. That's the thing. Like nothing happens. And you're like, right, okay. So what does this mean exactly? And then you're well, not much really in the grand scheme of things.
Hmm.
Like because like hardly any people actually read these fucking publications. So it's just like you know, like what just happened? and yeah, like not a huge amount.
No, but still, I mean, it was so many times that they. I mean, obviously, I haven't seen all of it, but I've kept up a little bit,
Yeah.
and probably more than half of the time they don't say that it was that you said you wouldn't rape. They always make it sound like you said you would rape her. That
Yes.
Jess Phillips chick, right?
Well, that's their job basically.
Yeah, but it seems so petty and like
That's only because it
beneath them.
is.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect. Well, I guess I did, but still, it's
Yeah.
really it really surprises me that mainstream media will really sink that low and just go for twisting the words in any way they can.
Well, one of my favorite things is that I think it was last night. Jess Phillips went on a comedy program in the UK called "Have I Got News for You,"
Hmm.
and she literally declared that she had won the argument by saying that she's better than me.
Okay.
And I was just sat there like, oh my fucking god! Now we're
Oh,
back to 2017 with Anna Kaspari going, I'm fucking
Kasparian.
better.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like, Jesus Christ, is that really her argument? I'm better than you. Is that your argument, is it, Jess? Like, just like, I fucking hope you are. You're a fucking MP.
Jesus. Somebody better do a fucking
But
Photoshop of that.
imagine this from her perspective. She's like, I'm better than some pleb on YouTube. Oh, good job, Jess. Like the barrier to entry for YouTube is creating a YouTube channel. Why
Hmm.
are you even feuding with me in the first place? Ignore me. I'm beneath your contempt. Surely. Like, what the fuck is going on? So yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah.
been entertaining. I'm not gonna lie.
How many requests you get like from media for interviews and shit?
Well, fewer now that the campaign's over.
Well,
Obviously, a
obviously.
lot of them didn't want to talk to me because they knew I'd just say things that they wouldn't like.
Right,
So
right. How was how,
the ones leading the attack are the talk. The rest of them are kind of afraid of it, but quite a few from local ones actually.
right, right. How was the feeling in the studio when you did that one where I don't remember her name. It was some older lady. Where you're
Victoria Derbyshire, I think is the
yeah,
one you're
with
thinking of.
the does word lead to violence thing.
Yeah, well, I've never said that you can't incite violence. Obviously,
No, no, no. Yeah, it just seemed
yeah.
like you're kind of hating each other there.
Well, I was just prepared to be attacked. She was the one doing the attacking.
Hmm.
But honestly, I mean, I was all right with that. I was having quite a good time. So, but she seemed fairly upset
Hmm.
by the end of it. In fact, she seemed frustrated. That was what it felt like to me, like just frustration.
Yeah, there was something going on in the air. It felt like when you saw it, like yeah, there was some cat screeching going on.
Well,
Yeah. Oh well. That was a fun interview. But the one I enjoyed the most was probably the announcement when you were up on the stage with Count Dankula.
oh, I just found that hilarious. But seriously, the media. The thing is, though, this was inevitable. There was. I mean, look at what's happening at the moment, right? Boris Johnson's the favourite to win the Tory leadership election. Is going to become the next prime minister.
You
Hopefully,
think
this
he
is
will?
Brexit. Well, I would. I mean, there are probably. I don't know if there might be better options, but of all of them, I mean, Boris looks likely, and he's not ruling out no deal. So I will take that. That's a damn good step forward, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
Um, Already the smear pieces are coming out, but it's like Boris Johnson's a celebrity in this country. He's
Hmm.
famous. There are a lot of MPs who are only known in their local areas, but Boris Johnson is a well-known figure nationally. So, like, coming up with these smear pieces, like, what are you doing? This guy's a known quantity. Everyone knows that he's kind of like an old school bumbling toff,
Hmm.
but they don't hate him for it because he's not a self-aggrandizing like twat,
Hmm.
unlike say Jess Phillips, who is a self-aggrandizing twat. And so it's like no one hates Boris. He's not a hateable figure. Well, I mean, there probably are some, lunatic communists who hate him, but you know what I mean. Like in general, most people are okay with him
But
because he
sure,
doesn't
I've
look
seen
like
a
a
lot
hypocrite.
of hit pieces on him over the years. So but I guess that's kind of his strength that everything has been uncovered already. Maybe.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. They're just recycling it. It's like 12 things that Boris Johnson said that were dumb or something, and it's like, what the? How far back are you going? He's been doing this a long,
Yeah. So they're not coming up with anything new.
No.
Sure, he's kind of maybe a bit Trumpish in his buffoonery.
Yeah. I mean, he's kind of a throwback, in politically.
Yeah, he can just let
He uses
things.
words like pickaninny, which drives them crazy.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, it drives them fucking mad. He used this term a while ago, and and he called burkers letterboxes. And my God, this
Yeah,
this man's crimes against political correctness are endless. Um,
yeah. Yeah, he just lets it all out there,
yeah,
which is kind of an admirable trait for a
well, I find that
politician.
endearing.
Yeah, I mean it's better than when politicians refuse to say anything.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like a remarkable number of politicians don't say anything. I think
Yeah, I
that's
mean they
they,
try to weasel the way out of it so they could be interpreted to mean either way. Basically,
yeah.
that's a kind of
That's,
a common thing, I
and well,
think.
that's the thing. It's this politically correct class that has to be, and it's the culture of political correctness as well. Like
Hmm.
this, like we're going to give you a perfect veneer, and we'll never stray from the script. That's the politically correct narrative. It's like, look, a lot of these narratives are just wrong, and a lot of them are actually kind of morally backwards if you think about them.
Hmm.
So, would it not be wiser for us to actually just take a level-headed approach to the way things actually are? That seems like the most wise thing to do to me.
Yeah, well, you're expecting politicians to do that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they could always just
they
take the
have
easy.
they have so many other motivations going on.
I know. It's awful.
It's
I'm
yeah.
willfully naive.
Well, I suspect you're not anymore, but
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. No. I didn't. Anyway, but like, um, I think it's I think it's good for someone to move in that direction, even if it's pushing a boundary that is not likely to bend too much. I think it's important that we should do that anyway, and with a large enough sort of a long enough period of time, I think we can start moving these things. But like them, we just have to be persistent,
right.
and keep honing our arguments. But I think we can do that. I think we've got decent principled opposition to what they're doing and necessary things. So I think that we can do that.
Yeah, because there's a sort of a hegemony right now going on, and it's really getting kind of scary for free speech, especially over there.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say we've got free in this country.
Sorry?
I wouldn't say we've got free speech in this country, personally.
No,
Um,
no.
I don't consider Britain to be a free country as we understand it. Like, the sort of like liberty-minded areas of the world, like in movements on the internet and whatnot. That's
Right,
you
right.
do have to be careful. I mean, it's not as draconian as the internet would have you believe, obviously,
Hmm.
but it is there, and it's an undercurrent that will probably get worse and not better.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be any change on the horizon.
No,
It's
well, no, there is change. It's just a negative.
yeah, well,
It's going to
more
be
of the same.
it's going to be changed in the direction of more sense.
Yeah, and that is just totally mind-boggling to me. Like just 5 years ago, I would not have even dreamed that we would be in the reality where we are now.
Man, I can't believe that in the modern era, a guy got convicted over a joke, and then the state went to his bank account and just took a fine because he didn't think he'd pay it. I just can't. That to me is mind blowing. Like that's what a tyrannical government does.
I know. And what was the what was some guy that had the police show up at his house
Yeah, the
and
thought police, literally.
check his thinking,
The
even though
fucking
they admitted that it was no crime involved.
yeah, the literal thought police, and it's like right. I mean, it's actually getting kind of scary, isn't it? You know, it's
Yeah.
like, well, you know what? The state shouldn't be persecuting people for having thoughts that the state doesn't like.
No, that is pretty
Call me
much
crazy.
that is the
I'm a radical this
definition of
way.
that is the definition of a tyranny.
Well, yeah, right. It's I don't think we're being unreasonable. It's tyrannical. I think this is just an observation of the way things are going.
Yeah, because once you, I'm not saying you are there now. I'm not trying to be a
No,
conspiracy
no.
theorist, but once you are there, if that ever happens, I would say that's worse than the government actually outright killing you.
Well, I mean,
I mean,
it's
I'm not big
yeah,
on
fine
safety.
degrees.
I'm not big on safety. You know, if I'm more like
Hmm.
live free or die, basically.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
But I guess that's kind of more of an American point of view, maybe.
Well, I mean, it is very American, but also laudable. I'm not. It's not bad
Hmm.
by any stretch of the imagination. It's so yeah, it's just very different to the European and sort of British view of it.
Yeah, yeah. So, what about you're banned at a couple of places, right?
Am I?
No, no. In real life, seem to remember reading about the fact that some institutions or some rallies banned you from showing up or something in
Did
your.
they?
Was some. I read
Oh,
it.
right. No, hustings. Right. So this is part of the campaign trail.
Right, there was some
Things.
sort of campaign trail thing.
Yeah. So yeah, these are like publicly organized debates,
Hmm.
and a couple of places they were like, "No, we believe the media narrative. We are against Carl Benjamin and all he stands for." I'm like, "Holy shit!" like, like I'm getting denounced by literally everyone. This is great, right? I got denounced by Nick Griffin and Jeremy Corbyn, and it's like, wow, that's amazing, especially after Nick Griffin endorsed Jeremy Corbyn.
Okay,
So
I don't remember who Nick Griffin was.
Nick Griffin's the leader of the British National Party, which is a party that actually has neo-Nazi roots. And not only does he endorse Jeremy Corbyn, but he denounces me. And it wasn't like a full-throat denunciation. It was just like, well, I've got no time for classical liberal Civ Nat Carl Benjamin, you know. And it's like, okay, well, good.
Okay. Well,
And on the end, like,
that's kind of good, isn't it?
yeah, I know, no, it's fab, it's fab. Then Jeremy Corbyn denounced me as well. I was like, this is this is like,
Here you are
the,
getting denounced by Nazis, and
all the communists in the country are
the media is
denouncing me.
still calling you far right, huh?
Yeah,
How's
yeah.
that?
Well,
How does that feel being called far right, and you're what
I don't
like
think
a
they mean
leftist?
Nazi. I don't think they mean. They say far.
Sorry.
I've come to the conclusion that they don't mean Nazi when they say far.
Hmm.
If they'll say Nazi when they mean Nazi. When they say far right, I think what they mean is small government libertarian.
Hmm.
I think that's what they're actually talking about. And I think that they're genuinely afraid of that because that'll be the end of the sort of social programs that they love so much.
Right, but it's still there is a connotation to saying far right. You're kind of
There
like
is.
you're kind of trying to make people think of unsavory things.
Yes. That's definitely the way they've tried to mold the phrase in people's heads. And of course it's worked because nobody's been trying to counter that. But the thing and the thing is, I mean, I don't even know what relevance political compass points really have. I'm interested in the philosophy that people are following. Um, if someone's following Nazi ideology, and look, honestly, I think there is a very strong case to be made that the Nazis were not wingers. And I don't say this as a right winger either. I say this as a centrist, right?
Hmm.
I genuinely do view the Nazis as being a lot more like the socialists than anything else. And I'm not
Well,
just saying it
yeah.
to wind up
It,
the socialists.
if for nothing else, they have socialist in the name.
Well, that's not the argument though.
No, I know that.
That's
I know that.
yeah. It's total state control.
Yeah. Right.
state control. I mean, the Nazis run a state-controlled economy. The Nazis had mass censorship. The Nazis had camps, like work concentration camps, work camps,
Exactly.
which were also death camps in some
You'd
cases.
be hard pressed to find any difference.
Yeah, they had a secret police. They were a one-party anti-democratic state. It's like, what, the differences between Nazis and communists must be fucking fine if you think about it.
The only difference really is the fact that instead of appointing like some sort of workers union thingy, they just let the original boss in charge of the factory.
Yeah, essentially, or just annexed it to Nazi members.
Yeah, I mean they annexed the company, but they still left the boss in charge, basically.
Yeah, but the thing is, it didn't really matter because like they operated centralized warehouses for goods.
Yeah,
and so you had to, and this is the same with the fascists. Like you had to apply to the warehouse to get 6,000 tons of steel. And if you bribed someone, then suddenly the steel would be there, and if not, you'd have to go on a waiting list. And so it's like the way that I read a book called Vampire Economy, talked about it, and the way that it was written by a communist economist in the 30s before the war started. And the way he described it was that corruption was a liberating force on the economy, whereas normally it's an oppressive force and makes things worse. So that was like, and it was really weird because like the guy writing it was essentially being sympathetic to the capitalists, which are obviously the people that he as a communist probably hated, so it's like, isn't it weird how the Nazis, like, their economy was so bad that like even the communists are like, oh look, you guys, you were awful to the like, so it's not like it was just some pro capitalist propaganda, and yet so the Nazis did have I mean, basically they seem socialist in operation. I don't care about the ideological fineries around it, because, and again, these are not like massively dissimilar either. I mean, like you've got Heidegger, who was a Nazi philosopher at I can't remember which university it was now, and directly under him you had Herbert Marcuse, who was a member of the Frankfurt School, who's given us great contributions to postmodernism and the sort of left-wing branch of postmodernist intersectionality theory that we have now.
Right.
Like these things are closely intertwined, and they always have been. I mean, Mussolini edited a socialist newspaper for 10 years before deciding that socialism was a dead doctrine and it wasn't going to work. So,
yeah, right.
The distancing from fascism that socialists do is not unself-conscious. It's self-conscious that they are like, well, we're not them. It's like, yeah, yet. You're not them yet. But I think that there's a reason that all of them were.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth in that. It probably is very, very self-conscious. Like, oops, we better do this, because they know, even maybe not consciously, but they know unconsciously that we're kind of like them. So,
I think that there's a huge amount of denial with socialists when it comes to that.
Yeah.
They do not like the idea that they could become fascists, and I can understand why.
I don't understand how they could be, closing their eyes to that.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? The facts are that they do end up really looking like fascists. So,
yeah, I mean,
just saying.
It's just, yeah, I mean, you have your Soviet Union or whatever. Yeah, technically they were not called fascists, but what the hell's the difference?
Yeah. Yeah.
What does it matter for the guy who's getting thrown in a gulag anyhow?
Yeah, by the way, this wasn't because we're fascist. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I feel so much better now.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Anyway, I have another question for you. Kind of a technical one that maybe you can explain. What's the big deal about the Irish border? Right. Getting back to the EU there.
Yeah. So basically, the EU has a set of harmonized trade regulations across it, and because Britain and Ireland are both in the EU, that means their regulations are harmonized. So it doesn't matter when goods cross the Northern Ireland border. This is important because the Northern Ireland border has been the source of a lot of Irish nationalist terrorism which you might actually be able to describe through one lens as kind of white nationalism, for Ireland specifically.
Okay.
Um, but this is that's a joke, but I mean, technically, it is like it technically is for like Irish nationalism. So, I mean, if the left wanted to describe it as such, they could call it white nationalism, but they don't because they're sympathetic to it because
Mm-hmm.
they view Britain as like punching down Ireland. But anyway, sorry, getting off the topic there. So yes, so the question of the border there was it used to be heavily policed in like the 70s, 80s,
Right.
and 90s through a period called the Troubles, and that a huge amount of terrorism happened, a great deal of suffering occurred, and a lot of people died.
Sure.
And one way to one part of the peace process in Ireland was to make sure there was a soft border there, to make sure there was no inflaming of tensions. And so, if we leave the European Union, then the European Union is essentially insisting that we'll have to put up a border to make sure that goods that come from Britain into Ireland meet EU regulations.
Right.
And that obviously is unacceptable from, like, I guess we would say, a British point of view as well as an Irish point of view. And I think this is essentially leverage that the EU has been using,
But I mean,
to try and drum up a mythical kind of crisis. But the thing is,
isn't that 50 years ago?
No. It's actually in the recent past, within my lifetime.
Okay.
So it's not very old. So
you really think you think it's a credible threat that they'll start bombing again up there?
Well, I mean, a journalist was shot the other day
in Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, I do actually think it is a credible threat that this might happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's probably imperative that we do not put up a border. But the question is, okay, well, I mean, I don't think we will put up a border. I mean, it was our peace process with Northern Ireland, so why would we sabotage that? The only people who really would put up a border, in my opinion, are probably going to be the EU themselves, which they'll do through sort of bureaucratic obstinance.
Mm-hmm.
But when they put up this border, like, the tension probably will flare up. But we'll just have to point. Well, look, we don't have a border. You can come and go as you please. We're not stopping you. But it'll be the EU that does if and when that happens. But to be honest with you, I don't think they'll have the balls to do that either. I think they're just threatening it, basically. I think it's nonsense.
Oh, it's a game of chicken there.
Yeah, I don't think there's any real. It's a manufactured crisis, a manufactured issue. I don't think there's anything to it.
Yeah. They've been making a big deal out of it. I guess I don't fully understand the animosity between the groups there.
It's a long-standing ethnic conflict between Catholics and Protestants.
Right.
Over the colonial history of Ireland.
Why? I mean, that's what makes it so explosive over there. I mean, Catholics and Protestants work fine in the U.S.
Ancient history.
Fuck people and their ancient history.
Yeah, I know, right? But no, people are very connected to their ancient history, and they don't want to let it go. So this is something that we have to worry about.
That's probably the major cause of conflict when you think about it.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean the Middle East. I mean, that's all old conflicts, basically.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, like Sunni and Shia goes back 1,400 years. Oh Jesus, who cares?
Yeah.
What was the rightful succession? I don't give a fuck.
You'd think we'd get over these kind of things at some point, but I guess I thought I'd be living in the Star Trek world when I grew up, but fuck, that didn't happen.
No fucking chance, my friend.
No. All right. Anyway, that's weird. But so about this all the milkshaking.
Well, the left has decided it's acceptable to do political violence to people with whom we disagree.
Well, the first
I
thing
think
I
they're wrong.
thought when I heard that is like acid attacks are pretty common in the UK, right?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, but they're done by other communities than the ones we're discussing here. Really,
Right.
this is the white working, well, the white middle class,
Hmm.
um, the sort of insufferable middle class dingbats who think that society is everything, and like your social standing matters, um, and so they're using it as a tool of humiliation at the moment.
Hmm.
Um, but they'll graduate to something worse as things get progressively anti-progressive. In fact, so just wait, it's coming.
Yeah.
The middle class is essentially turning into jihadis at this point, and nobody's stopping them. Nobody seems to recognize that it's a bad thing to let them radicalize, and so they've got to the point where they're pretty fucking radical now. And literally they justify political violence. They're out right now, like all journalists and left-wing outlets across the country are saying things like, no, of course this isn't political violence. It's like, of course it is. It's
Yeah. I
how
mean,
else would you describe you assaulting? I mean, it's illegal. Like the police have arrested like 4 people for doing it, and I'm charging 2 people myself.
mhm.
It's not legal to do this, but the press have decided, no, 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 this isn't political violence. We can rationalize it. It's like, okay, but I'm still going to get you arrested and charged. So watch.
Right.
Like,
Well, I mean, obviously, if it's against the law, that's the way to go. But like I
yes.
said, I was just fucking like, oh, I'd be fucking scared of acid because that's there's
Well,
always going to be
I don't think
crazies.
it's yeah. Well, obviously we try not to just keep talking about it because I guess that puts it in people's heads, doesn't it?
Okay. Yeah, I guess. And, cat's out of the bag.
Yeah. Well, we're in a world where the left think this is fucking justified, to be honest. So it's
Yeah,
quite worrisome. Like,
it's just beneath a modern democracy. Like
oh yeah,
it's like what is even the point? Just don't vote for that guy you don't like.
yeah, that's how it's meant to happen. But
Yeah,
we're not dealing with Democrats; we're dealing with socialists.
yeah.
They don't
They're
believe in
just
democracy.
waiting for the long knives to come out.
Yeah, that's what the social media deplatformings are. That's
Yeah, I guess it's
that's
kind of a
how it
digital long
works.
knife.
Yeah, no, that's because everything they do is through the lens of like social media these days. Like Twitter is absolutely ruining them. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, they do view it as like a political assassination. Like that, why would you even bring up that someone's been banned from fucking Twitter? Who cares, right?
Hmm.
But they bring it up all the time, and it's like I I don't think a regular person gives a shit that I've been banned from Twitter. Like,
No, no, not the normies.
imagine a normie like you're standing like a farmer drives past his tractor and he's like, "Wait, you were banned from Twitter?" It's like he's like, like it's so fucking ridiculous. Like, but they write it in every article. It's like, okay, fine.
Well, I do think it's hilarious that they do that. On the other hand, though, it is really a weird thing for them to do that to people that are running for office, and then they complain about other people meddling in elections.
Well, yes, that's a
It doesn't
and
matter what people think of you. It's just you're running for office.
you
Jesus.
have to understand that these people are massive fucking hitters, and they will decry you for spreading division and hate while literally drumming up hate mobs against you to divide you against other. So, you know, you
Yeah.
know what they're like.
Yeah,
Christ
yeah,
on
yeah.
me.
Of course, of course. But it is kind of weird, and um, pretty much the only other. I'm not equating this in any way, but just as a parallel, the only other time you get like a life sentence is for murder and stuff, and obviously you're not being put in prison. But I think it's kind of weird that you can just ban people for life for something
Well,
you said a bad word, you're banned for life.
I'm amazed Jack Dorsey can square this circle in his head because he when he was on Joe Rogan, he was like, "Yeah, I think people have a right to social media." It's like, well,
Hmm.
how can you ever justify banning someone?
Well, I mean, yeah,
Like, you're the guy who
in
runs
that
the
case,
social
there
media.
should be like a normal justice system where there's a
Well,
time
yeah.
period unless you fucking murdered someone.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, okay, well, then do we need a jury? Like, if it's a human right,
Yeah.
then we
Well,
do need a
we
jury,
do.
don't we?
Yeah. Then we do need a jury. Exactly.
Like, so we need Twitter juries, according to Jack Dorsey of Twitter.
I
So,
wouldn't say
okay,
that, but I would say that maybe we do need real juries. Maybe these cases should be brought to
well, no,
trial.
like real, yeah, real jury to ban someone from social media. And so he's essentially saying, take the decision making power out of my hands. And things, I'm sure Mark Zuckerberg has said things to this effect as well.
Hmm.
And I'm just wondering if that actually wouldn't be doing them a favor. Because if you look at them, they look nervous all the fucking time, man. Mark Zuckerberg looks like he's about to freak out and go after people with a fucking gun. Because he's like, I've had enough of this, I can't, I'm not the god of 2 billion people. What do you want from me? And then just go on some rampage, man. He looks like he's about to go nuts. Every picture I see of him, every video, he just looks like he's on the fucking edge.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's like, I
Yeah.
mean, the thing is, I can't believe he is. I mean, like, there's such great influence in what they do and what they have. It's like, fuck, man. I bet Mark Zuckerberg was never actually looking for this. Like,
Right.
he must be looking at what's going on and thinking, fuck me.
But I mean, I think it would probably be a good thing for them, but it might also be a good thing for us. But I'm not saying that they should institute juries. In that case, it should be real legal cases.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because
Like,
if they get to
your
appoint,
account.
if they get to appoint the juries, fuck it,
Well, yeah,
that'll be the same
absolutely.
thing. That's pretty much what they have now. Pretty much, I would
Well,
assume
exactly.
that.
And we can see the problem.
Yeah, they probably just appoint people they like and their friends and whatnot, and you have the same thing. But in a randomly selected jury of your peers, okay, I could see that.
Yeah.
And obviously, that would cost the justice system a lot of money. So that's a big problem. I don't know. I don't have a solution for it. But
Well, I have no idea either. Like, it's something that needs to be talked out, basically.
I just think it's wrong to basically deperson someone for life for saying a bad word.
Especially given how important they are, the amount of importance they're putting on the internet itself and putting on social media. If this is that important, then let's treat it like it's that important. I mean, I wouldn't have it is, but at least not until not until now.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it is. You guys are acting like this is fucking ultra important, so let's take it seriously.
Well, I mean, it is pretty important if you live off of it. If that's
Well, yeah, I mean,
if you make your living and it can just be terminated for some obscure reason that you don't even understand. No other form of enterprise could have that happen to it.
Good point. That's a very good point.
Yeah, like they can't just unincorporate your corporation all of a sudden because you said fuck somewhere where you shouldn't have.
What a fucking world we live in. Jesus.
Yeah, well, that's the way it is. And it's not getting any. I'm not sure what happened. Did you hear about that Lauren Southern thing?
Oh, Borderless was pulled down by YouTube without explanation, as I understand.
Yeah, I don't know anything either except for some tweets, so I have no info on it. But it seemed suspicious from those tweets I read.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Did you have
there's a
any?
link to the video that you could go to, and I did go to it, and I couldn't watch it. And then she put it up again, and as far as I'm aware, it's still up, which I find interesting.
Okay.
Normally, if they take one thing down, then they keep an eye on it and will keep taking things down.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that they didn't this time is interesting in and of itself.
Right,
Like, they didn't
because
the second time.
if we take her word for it, there was no, even no kind of hate speech or bad words or anything.
No, I watched it.
Oh, you watched it? Oh,
No, of course
okay.
there was no hate speech.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it, so I'm not going to vouch for it. But if you have, please go on.
Yeah, I watched it. like
Hmm.
an hour and a half long. It was generally fine. I think it probably could have done with a bit more editing. Like it went on for a bit long. You know, it's like too much mood establishing stuff, but the information in it was good.
Okay.
You know, very very solid work from Lauren.
Hmm.
I guess just stylistic choices that I would do differently, but that's just my opinion. So
Yeah, but
it's
that's fine. But I mean, the
yeah.
question is whether or not it was some sort of hate speech, quote
No,
unquote.
of course not. No, no.
So they didn't have any reason to ban it. So they just sort of try to pull a fast one and hope she wouldn't make a squeal about it. But obviously,
That's how it looks.
she would do that.
That's how it looks. But I mean, like everyone and their mother knows at this point that if you pull something down for saying something controversial, then everyone wants to see what the controversial thing you said was. So
Yeah.
you'd have to be a real moron to actually do that these days. Because now, I mean, there's a link on BitChute that's obviously got loads of views and like, people are now watching it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's free publicity for her.
Until they ban BitChute.
Well, they will ban BitChute as well. No, there aren't the UK government church pact, whatever it was. Like
Sorry.
this sounds. There's something called the Christchurch Pact, which sounds like a terrifying thing in and of itself, doesn't it? Now,
Hmm.
um, but this is yes, this is something they're actually doing. They're going to ban BitChute from the UK. I'm not
They
making this up.
oh, you know that specifically?
Yeah, it's in this Christchurch Pact thing.
Really?
Yes.
They are
Hey,
banning BitChute.
there is no end to the censorship.
Jesus Christ, that's an entire site. I
Yeah.
was just joking,
It's
but they're
like the
doing
site.
that.
Yeah, no, and the thing is, the site itself has done nothing. So it's like, what are you doing? It's like, no, fuck you. That's what.
Oh my God. Is that in Britain or
Yeah,
EU or
specifically in Britain.
specific? Okay,
Yeah,
Brits get a
countries have to
fucking
sign up.
VPN.
Yeah. Well, we'll fucking have to, man.
Yeah, that is scary. It's really
It's pretty
coming
nuts.
down the Iron Curtain.
Yeah, there is there is sort of that sort of thing happening.
Yeah.
So, yeah, internet censorship is a big problem. Okay, this is what happens with progressivism. Makes everything better.
Yeah, it certainly made your channel better with demonetizing everything, huh?
Yeah, there's fucks.
That was, well, I didn't expect that because I've always thought you always kept a level head and all that.
Well, yes, but that doesn't stop them from saying that a joke is actually a threat. And that was what they did over. It was the media outrage. To be honest
Yeah.
with you, I should probably be thankful I still got a channel at all.
Yeah, well, be thankful for small favors, huh?
Well, yeah, exactly. So yeah, just be thankful it could have been worse.
Yeah, you could have
Like,
had your
spoken like a real tyrannical dictator.
Yeah, you could have had your door kicked in and SWAT came in and yeah, they just want to check your thinking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, could have been worse, So I'll not get upset about it.
Oh my God, what is happening to the world?
Well, it's a good question.
So what happened to Paul Joseph Watson? Wasn't he in UKIP and then he was started promoting the Brexit Party? What happened there?
Well, I think he's still in UKIP actually. If he's not, I'm not. But yeah, I mean, the European elections are a kind of one-off, and they've been effectively framed by the press as a new referendum on Brexit.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, I'm not sad Nigel Farage is going to do well.
Right.
Even if he's in a different party to me.
I just saw a lot of radical leftists taking the piss out of that because, that was, they were like, oh, he betrayed you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are a lot of people who feel that way, and justly so, as he did.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing is an ego battle between him, Farage, and like a few of the other sort of old school members of UKIP.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a dog in the fight, really. I'm not against any of them.
Right,
So
right. So
you
to you, it's basically just the important thing is that some anti-Brexit party wins.
no, some pro Brexit party, but yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
But no, I know what you mean. But yeah, to me, yes. I mean, I like UKIP a lot, and I want them to do well, work hard in the next year or so
mm-hmm.
for the local elections. I think where UKIP can really do well is in the local elections, um, and so I'm gonna help contribute to that hopefully. But at the moment, Brexit is a massively important. Brexiteer is doing well somewhere. Less, I'm less upset about not being victorious or whatever. That's fine
Right.
as long as the general trend is going well. Because I mean, anything like local to UKIP that I'm involved in, I can always work hard and help pull these things up. But the thing is, the Brexit party is not going to last, and everyone knows it. So the important thing really is planning for what comes afterwards.
Yeah, yeah. Because obviously, if you manage to get out, then that pretty much negates that
Yeah.
party.
Well, yeah, that's their entire platform gone. you know? So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, we need to have something in the works to think about what we're going to do when that has happened. I
Yeah.
mean, it might
Yeah.
be a while before it happens, obviously, but like, we have to have some thought to the issue.
So, are you looking forward to going out in the public and having public debates again?
Oh yeah, man, I really enjoyed doing it.
You enjoy that?
Oh yeah, it's great fun.
How was the mood there? Was it mostly people who liked you, or mostly people who hated you, or how did that work?
Most of the time, the crowd was very friendly, obviously.
Sorry, they were
Very friendly.
okay.
But at Totnes, we got assailed by a giant stack of middle class lunatics who didn't know what the fuck they're talking about, and it was really, really, really amusing. And I probably shouldn't laugh, but it was like they were just puppets. They were actual NPCs. They would just have half a narrative that was spun to them by the press that they didn't really understand,
Mm-hmm.
and they would just spout off, and you just start taking it apart bit by bit, and they'd end up being angry and confused, but very, very angry. And it's like, why couldn't you just be the bad guy I wanted you to be? It's like, well, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry the media wound you up.
Wow, they're expecting you to be Sieg Heiling or something, or
Yeah, I think a lot of them were. Because they literally, they're running around fascists and be like, but we're for limited government. Like in Salisbury, I was just like, well, I came here to see the Magna Carta.
mm-hmm.
Like, this is kind of a sacred document for me. And it was just, she had just real trouble believing it. It's like, why? What the fuck do you, I mean, what have I ever said you can quote me on? And they just have nothing.
So yeah, like, I guess they've just heard Jess Phillips and.
Well, it's not even, Jess Phillips doesn't even call me a fascist. Like,
no, but I mean, all the articles are basically slanted way to one side.
Yeah, they are, but they don't actually call people fascists. That's a demonstrable sort of claim, It's the sort of hope not hate types, the activist organizations. They're the ones calling everyone fascist,
mm-hmm.
and so it's their sort of supporters who end up using the term inappropriately.
Right. Right. Yeah, those are the guys that. What was it? They tried to frame Tommy Robinson or something, right?
Oh yeah. They were working with Panorama to effectively create like the most damaging documentary they could to Tommy.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the BBC is it's based on principles of neutrality, and so they can't be seen working with an activist group like Hope Not Hate. I mean, everyone knows what Hope Not Hate's about. It's a radical left wing organization, and they're not shy about this. They're very pro Corbyn, for example. And so you would think that the BBC would know better, but I can't remember the guy's name who did it now. But apparently they didn't. And it was a bit of a disgrace for them, actually, I have to say.
Yeah, that was not a good look from what I could tell from over here. But they looked like they got creamed, but I'm sure the media had a good spin on it, so it didn't look so bad for the normies.
Yeah, I'm sure they had a fab spin on it because they always do, don't they?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. What about that telegraph thing you've been um, endorsing so much? What is that?
A social media app that's not based in Silicon Valley.
Okay, so
So
how is it different from Minds and Gab and all that stuff?
it's basically I found it basically like a Twitter replacement,
Mm-hmm.
um, but without the cancerousness of the SJWs. So I can, just use it to just post updates on and just, post things that I've been reading with a comment, with some commentary on them, so you guys can be aware of the sort of stuff that like is going on that I'm paying attention to. Um, and so yeah, so I use it in basically the like I use with my Twitter account, but without the spurgy fights, and so
Mm-hmm.
I'm enjoying it a lot more. I mean,
But I
don't get me
mean,
wrong, I enjoyed the spurgy fights, but like this seems actually more useful.
but I'm just trying to figure out what the difference is between that and Gab and Minds. Why would do we need a third one?
Because it's more. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Does Gab have a mobile app?
Probably not, I guess.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not familiar with the mobile app Gab. Um, for Gab.
Yeah, they're probably banned like everyone else, I guess.
Yeah, and the Telegram just seems like a quick way of doing things. Like it just feels more immediate, and so it has that kind of feeling like Twitter.
Right. So, okay. So it's because you're on the road and you're out doing your
Yes.
campaigning and shit, and you really need the app because obviously,
Yeah.
I'm I don't really care about the phone app. I hate using the fucking 5-inch screen. I'm sitting here with fucking multiple screens that are 40 inches and shit. I don't want to sit there with a 5-inch screen, but I guess if you're out and about all the time, that's important.
Well, that's got to be done.
Yeah, it's a shame that they can't get their mobile apps approved because obviously, like you, a lot of people prefer that
Holy
for
shit.
some reason that I can't understand. But
So,
um,
just something past my timeline here.
mhm.
Amnesty International declared that Julian Assange was not a prisoner of conscience.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't the UN say he
In
was?
fact, and Chelsea Manning as well is not a prisoner of conscience.
Okay.
That's pretty amazing.
But didn't the UN say that?
Um, this was Amnesty
No,
International.
no, no, no. I mean,
the UN might have done. I'm not familiar
I'm
with
sure
what
they
they did.
came out and criticized the UK for their handling of Assange. I was like, kind of surprised that the UN would do that, but I remember seeing that
Hmm.
they were, saying it was cruel and unusual or some shit for him.
Well, I would have thought that they would have been on his side and Chelsea Manning's side.
I would have thought the amnesty would have, yeah.
Just,
I
I guess
would
I don't know.
I would have not expected that from the UN, but that's what I remember them doing. I'm sure if I'm remembering that wrong, someone will point it out in the chat. But
Yeah.
I'm sure the UN had criticism against that. But so Amnesty doesn't. That's hilarious.
Apparently they're okay with it. Apparently he didn't do nothing.
So now he's facing, what is he? He's being locked up for a year, and then he's
No. He's facing like 17 years. Something.
yeah, but in the UK, first he's got to do a year in the UK, right? And then he's got to go to Sweden for a rape conviction, and then he got to go to the US for God knows what, and be convicted of whatever the fuck they cook up. So yeah, he's got a nice future.
Well, the Swedish, it wasn't a conviction; it was an allegation. That was dropped.
Okay.
and revived on various people's requests. I can't remember whose it was off the top of my head, but it's weird how strings are definitely being pulled to put him in his place. Um,
Yeah, as soon as
he's
he was available, so to speak, everyone was just jostling for
Yeah,
position.
yeah, and the coincidental timing is Ecuadorian embassy receiving an IMF flight. Um, and now suddenly, oh, we're going to kick Julian Assange out because he did loads of stuff, and so okay, he was there for like 7 years. You know, like Julian Assange to me that's a form of suffering. You know what I mean? Being trapped in the one building that not even that you don't even you've got no ownership or entitlement to it, and
Yeah.
being trapped in this building for 7 years at the
Well,
having
it is a kind of a
pleasure of their
prison
host.
sentence. It's probably slightly better than a prison, but
Not by much. Yeah.
it's probably worse than house arrest though, because
Well, yeah.
you don't have any control over it, and you're stuck in that one room.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good way of putting it. I mean, obviously, I'm sure he was grateful to the Ecuadorians for hosting. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's still rough.
Yeah, and I get it. They said he was getting kind of crazy at the end, but I guess that's kind of expected for someone living in one room for 7 years.
Yeah, I'm sure he was. But yeah, I mean, this is Trump should be issuing pardons over. You know, like he called out WikiLeaks on the campaign trail, saying, we love WikiLeaks. So okay, that's some nice pandering to the crowd. But how about you actually help Julian Assange out? That would be good.
Yeah, yeah. So someone brought up a good question in the chat there that I saw. I should go over some super chats too.
Yeah.
But anyway, the question there was, so do you think it was worth losing your monetization channels and all that for running?
Oh yeah, definitely. So the important thing is to make them come out, is to draw them out and say, what are you prepared to do?
Mm-hmm.
And over a joke, they are prepared to go this far. Other people need to know that.
Mm-hmm.
We need to, and if we're ever going to have a hope in hell in dislodging any of these people from the positions that they hold over us, we've got to know where they're going to move. And this is where they're going to move. So we have to prepare other revenue streams. Like, I'll be fine, but other people won't be.
Right.
When they're trying to do political activism, there are lots of young, upcoming political activists on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's one of those things where it's like, we need to know the boundaries. We need to know what will and won't happen, and we need benchmarks from which to test precedents.
Yeah,
and I don't know that it'll be permanent. I mean, it probably will be. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't have any idea what kind of rules they have for that.
I don't have any faith that they'll give me it back, but who knows?
Well, I mean, when they do that, it's just unilateral, and you have no idea, right? It's
it's all totally unilateral. But I mean, I'll probably end up writing a book, to be honest, because I've got enough now to put into a book that I think people could use that'd be useful for them.
Right.
Because before I was like, well, I haven't really done anything, but now I've done quite a lot. And I tell you what, man, there was a lot that happened on this.
Sorry.
Now I've done quite a lot. There's happened on the that is worth talking about. And a lot was learned,
Yeah. Well, obviously that must have been a crash course.
Yeah, it was an. Sorry, let me see your. Yeah, no, it was an adventure, man. Because we had no idea what the next day would bring. It was awesome. It was really great because it's like, God, what the hell's going to happen? Like the army of lefties in Totnes was amazing. Like they came out in force, yelling about fascism. And I'm like, okay, so what you can do? Shut down free speech.
Calm down.
Where are the fascists?
Oh my God, they were really expecting brown shirts.
Yeah, I think they were. I think unironically they were.
Yeah. I mean, to rile people up like that. Jesus. But what was the was there any, apart from people throwing shit at you, was there anyone that was like particularly I don't know, hostile or really like that really irked you or something? I don't know.
There was some Cornish nationalists took issue with us,
Okay.
but it wasn't that we were campaigning against the EU. It's that they were being racist against us for being English.
Okay.
They were the genuinely scary guys. But again, like I said,
Well,
there's loads I might write a book because there is loads to write about this because it's been a really fascinating to what's happened. No, seriously, like the people that come out of the woodwork, as soon as you effectively like declare yourself as something,
mhm,
then that makes you a kind of nexus, a target for everyone who has a position that they want to advance as well.
mhm.
And it was genuinely it was really great. Man. I really like it was a really exciting thing to do.
Well, I can imagine, or maybe I can't, but um, it's it would certainly be interesting to read a behind the scenes story about it. So you should definitely do that.
Yeah,
Uh,
but we're definitely going to keep doing them as well. We're just going to try and
what
go bigger
what was the
because
what was the thing about Cornish? So I'm not that big on UK
oh right,
geography.
okay.
Isn't that kind of also in the South?
Yeah, so Cornwall is the most southwesterly part of the British Isles.
Right.
It's a fairly small sort of peninsula. Um, it
Isn't that like really close to London?
well, no, it's like probably like 400 miles away from London, which in Britain is a long way.
Okay.
Um, but the thing with the Cornish is that they're not the English, and they're closer related to the Welsh and the Irish, right?
Mhm.
Um, and when the English came over from northern Germany, they it got as far as Devon. They settled as far as Devon, basically, and so the Cornish, the Welsh, the Scots, and the Irish, they are the non-English, the non-Germanic
Mhm.
types.
Mhm.
And this divide has been with us since like the 8th century or something, and it's a core part of the identity of the Celtic nations that they're not English. And so the Cornish nationalists, again ethno nationalists, who hate the English
Mhm.
and were very racist against us, and they hated us for being English, not just because we were UKIP.
I mean, it's kind of fascinating that in a country that small, you can have different racial groups that go back thousands of years and hate each other. Like, Jesus,
Oh yeah,
haven't you
this
interbred already?
yeah the genes are very they're all over the place basically. There are a huge amount of Welsh and English genes across the Welsh and English borders, but like the national identity, the cultural identity, is still intact.
Mhm.
So
But what is the cultural identity? Do they have their own language or?
yep,
Yeah, okay.
they have special government programs to advance their own
It's called
language.
Cornish or what?
Yeah, the Cornish language, the Welsh language, Scots Gaelic,
Right.
or Scots
Well,
Irish. They've probably got a few.
Obviously heard of those, but I've never heard of
Yeah,
Cornish before.
yeah, no, Cornish is a language. It has, one of the features of the language is that a lot of some place names begin with TRE. So sort of, I lived in a place called Trevelgy when I lived in Cornwall, for
Mm-hmm.
example. It was near Treloggan, I think it was, near Tren Creek. Just a lot of Cornish names, place names with TRE. So, but I don't know anything about the language really.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just one way of recognizing it.
Hmm.
They've got their own flag, and they're not the English.
Hmm. Oh well, that's that's
It's a very complicated old country, is Britain.
yeah, it is. I mean, obviously you have thousands of years of history, so that's
Yeah.
the way it would be. Um, I guess I should do some super chats.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm gonna have to head off fairly soon because it's quite late.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe maybe we should use that time to talk then, and I can do the super chats when you're gone, or what do you think?
Well,
When do you have to leave?
well, I don't have to leave any particular time. Gone 1 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Knackered, so I
Mm-hmm.
was going to leave fairly soon.
Right.
But we can go through some super chats if you want. I don't mind.
All right. Let's see here. Pincalo, the driving Hman says, like, share, especially share. Thank you. Magog of Morscar. How you doing, buddy? Unprofessionals versus professional, eh? Fine, I see how it is. Sargon, I wouldn't even elect you. Have a good show, guys. Oh, well, that's good, buddy. We weren't that professional, so we're still the unprofessionals here.
Oh, God, yeah.
Pragmatic Culture says, how does it feel knowing Sargon Grim Reaper meme was now confirmed to be 100% accurate? I don't know. I have no idea what that is. Do you know what that is?
Good. Just wait until I get elected. Imagine what I'll do to politics in the country.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like
to
the
you?
thing is that, yeah, the problem is that things have to die. And if that means politics in this country has to die to be rebuilt, then fine. But I mean, like, I can't believe how much of an impact I have.
I don't know what that is. So I mean,
it's a joke, but I genuinely am amazed at the impact that I managed to have on British politics.
mm-hmm.
Like, I can't believe that Jess Phillips is still bringing me up on TV, like weeks after, well, yeah, like 2 weeks after the fact or something, 3 weeks after the fact. Like, Jess, are you still talking about me?
Right. I mean, that is an interesting point. You know, just going from being a regular pleb to being fucking on every national newspaper and TV show. That must be weird.
It's very weird. It's like one tweet from 3 years ago, and it's had a lot of currency.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but apart from that, you know, just how do you go from, because obviously you had a big YouTube channel, but there must be a difference in that and just being on the news constantly and in every fucking newspaper.
Not as significant as you think.
Okay.
I mean, like, no one, like, what? Yeah, no, like, no one's negative when I'm walking around. So, like, I don't know. Like, it doesn't feel like anything's changed. Like I said, I really don't think the reach of these papers is as great as they think it is. Like, regular people on the street just do not care about any of this. Like, imagine giving a shit that someone tweeted something at Jess Phillips.
No, I get
like,
that.
Who cares, dude?
Yeah, I get that. But yeah. I figured that before you weren't getting recognized that often, but maybe now you would be because you're on the fucking BBC all the time, right?
Just feels about the same, to be honest.
Really?
No significant difference. The only time it's different is when I go to like a political event, you know, when there's activists from both sides. But most people in the real world are not activists for any side and don't give a shit. And so, like, you know.
Yeah, that's the old saying, isn't it? Never underestimate how little people give a shit.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, but no, I'm happy to kill politically correct politics because I think they should die.
Yeah. Politically correct politics is like cancer.
Yeah, it is. It is an absolute cancer.
Yeah.
It's ruining our countries. It's totally ruining the fucking West. So anything I can do to break the politically correct dialogue, I'm going to keep doing.
Yeah. All right. Interesting question here. Artemis Fowl says, Undoomed and Sargon, which do you value more, following the truth or following the law? What do you say to that?
I mean, the pursuit of truth is obviously what we're after.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you've got to take your own personal context into account. You can't just act like you're above the law.
It is kind of like almost a false dichotomy, because you should do both.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I don't know if you could value one over the other. As far as my that'd be my answer.
Yeah, I don't think it's any different.
But it's an interesting question. If you put it to someone, I'm sure someone could come up with some interesting motivation for it. But yeah, I can't see it being any other answer that, you know, they're both important. And I can't really see you putting one over the other. Anyway, Dragon Lady says, What's funny is that I, an American, seem to know more about British and EU politics than a lot of British citizens, judging from Carl's recent videos. Got to admit, Carl's educational.
Hmm, thank you.
Well, I mean, I certainly don't pretend to know a lot about the UK politics, but I must say they're very interesting. I'm so fucking sick and tired of hearing about fucking Russian collusion. I don't give a shit. I am so over that shit. So I'm not really interested in American politics. It's just the same thing over and over and over again. At least the UK politics have been fun watching. You know what I mean?
Well, I hope they have been fun. Got to get people paying attention.
Yeah, it's you've certainly made it interesting, and it hasn't just been the same old thing over and over again for years, like the
Right?
fucking Russian investigation and all that.
Yeah. I mean, what one of the best bits for me was during the campaign, we found out that UKIP is polling at 14% among young people across the country, and
Mm-hmm.
that's interesting, isn't it? Like we're the second most popular party among young people, behind Labour, who are at 33%, and the Conservatives are on like 12%, and then the Brexit Party were on like 7%, and then a few percent for all the other like smaller ones.
Right.
And it's like that's really interesting, and I really do think it's because UKIP are the only party who give a shit about free speech. Like
Yeah.
the
Well.
only party who want to talk about Islam. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
none of the other major parties will even go near it. They're like, no, 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 there's nothing wrong. Islam's the perfect religion of peace. It's like, dude, like, come on, let's let's calm down.
Yeah.
Like, that's the
So
opinion that ISIS have of Islam.
just.
Regular Muslims will say there are problems, of course. You know, there are flaws,
Mm. Yeah, but
but
14%, you said? Yeah, let's give it
yeah,
20
14%.
years. The old people die off and you be in power.
Well, I think what I'm going to do is carry on doing these events, but do one a month and
Mm.
put some work into marketing them before we go and do them. So hopefully we can draw fairly large crowds. And then in a year's time, they've got the local elections down here. So if I've, once a month in different towns,
Right.
and this is quite natural UKIP territory actually.
Okay.
So after the sort of the Brexit thing has happened, when it comes to talking about like the real issues that are actually going to affect every fucking day, um, I think that we can actually start making an impact.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's awesome. But do you want to be a politician or do you want to go back to being a YouTuber?
Well, the great thing about this is I don't think it requires me to be a politician.
Okay. You just
So I
want to be
can
like a agitator? Or?
an agitator. Well, yeah, I guess so. Actually, yeah. So,
Well,
but I mean, really, I'd like to be a game developer. But like, if I'm,
you can't have everything. But
yeah, no.
I don't know. Maybe agitator is too harsh, but why not?
Well, it's essentially, isn't it? Just an activist, really. But yeah, I was thinking about like it's only a couple of £100 to get like 20,000 leaflets. And if we can get 20,000 leaflets like posted around a town or like a city or whatever, in this, because the Southwest is full of small places,
Mhm.
and so if we do one of these a month, we can, I think, start causing quite a stir. Because we'll be talking about stuff that's on the news but is never really fairly represented. So people have got an incentive to come out and at least hear the other side of this discussion.
Right.
And if we get enough people coming out to see us, because these like not that much happens in the, it's quite a placid place. So the local media has been all over my campaign, and not always in bad ways either.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been good. We'll definitely get the local media out to, and especially like I'll probably choose subjects that are in them just in and of themselves such inflammatory and divisive subjects the media wouldn't be able to pass it up. And so if we get a few thousand people out to debate, to discuss like whatever issue it is, and if we do these once a month, I think we'll turn UKIP into like a very well known thing for free speech in the Southwest. And if we have reasonable positions on things, which I think we do, then maybe we'll start persuading some people. Who knows?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing that always surprises me that I don't hear any extreme positions from you guys, but they're always describing you as extremists.
I know, right? The thing is, if you're not pro-Islam, then you're far right.
Then you're an extremist.
Yeah, exactly. Then you're an extreme. It's like, right, okay. That's where we've got to now. I mean, man, I was watching a bunch of Christopher Hitchens videos the other day, and man, he would probably be in jail for the things that he says these days.
Oh yeah,
for the things he said, he would be in jail. He would be considered just the wildest, far right radical. Like the way he approaches Islam.
And well, I mean, he probably said most of his stuff in the U.S., but in England, holy shit.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he said a lot of stuff in the U.S. as well. But over here now, Chris Hitchens would be public enemy number one.
Oh yeah, he'd be Tommy Robinson.
Yeah, he would. He'd be Tommy Robinson. he would be more controversial.
Probably, and people are still kind of, they have this rosy ideal of him, and I'm not saying he's a bad guy or anything, but if they heard him now, they would probably be appalled because they just remember that he said reasonable things back then. But if they could listen to it from today's perspective, I'm talking about lefties, extreme lefties here, then they would be appalled.
He's like king of the Islamophobes. He's the most open and blatant and deliberate Islamophobe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he said that there's no such word even.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I mean, like from their perspective, Chris Hitchens is like in open opposition to the very concept of Islam existing, and so they would see that as like genocide or something. So they'd call him a radical extremist.
Oh yeah, super far right, alt right, Nazi, whatever. Yeah.
Christopher Hitchens, alt right following. So.
He'd be fucking banned from all media. All right.
How many more have we got to get through?
Not much. Let's see here. Juggernaut. Hey Sargon. Didn't you or someone mention that Brexit technically happened recently, but for some reason it's just proceeding as if it didn't? Be awkward if new MEPs showed up and don't have seats.
It's there's a small party, I think it's like husband, called the English Democrats, and they're running a legal challenge to it. I haven't been following it, and no one else seems to be taking it seriously, so I don't know. But the political establishment is pretending like it is all going on, so.
Right, so that it's not really of any consequence now, I guess.
Not so far, but I mean, maybe like and everyone suddenly screeches to a halt, and everyone has to back up and be like, hang on, wait a second. Wait, then all of this was for nothing. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Daft N says the difference between Nazis and commies is in the name. National Socialism is necessarily opposed to international Marxist socialism.
Well, yeah, I mean,
okay.
I mean they
sure didn't like each other. I'll give you that.
No, they've got different ideological foundations, but they end at the same place.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't like each other, and maybe that's because they were so alike.
Well, that's what Hayek thought. They considered each other heretics.
Yeah. Kind of like Protestants and Catholics.
Very much. On Sonny and Cher.
No. Faith Alexandria OG sends $2 and doesn't say anything, so thank you for that. Synapse says Telegram is a chat app like WhatsApp, but good. It also has broadcast features like Sargon's using. Anything good with WhatsApp has ever made was ripped off by Telegram, or was ripped off from Telegram is probably what he's saying here. Okay, well, I guess I'll have to check it out. Chris Williams said, I wouldn't even milkshake you. Keep up the good work, lol.
I take that as a threat that I'm about to get.
Yeah, that is a clear and present threat.
Yeah.
How
dare you, sir?
How dare you? There's some sort of weird name, Victorix. I have no idea. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name. It's some sort of Latin. Vercingetorix. Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah, that's the name of the Gallic chieftain who was opposed to Julius Caesar.
Yeah. I when you pronounce the name, I recognize it, but I couldn't fucking get it into my head how to pronounce those 35 letters.
Well, it's a nightmare, isn't it?
Yeah.
But,
and anyway, he says, after we defeat this trend of lying politically correct totalitarianism, what do you think will be the next big political battle?
Oh, Jesus, I don't know, man. I'm only. Well, the thing is, the battle against Islam, I think, is going to be really easy because from a Western perspective, a lot of the premises of Islam are just flatly immoral.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is the leftists diving in the way and effectively preventing anyone from addressing them.
It's kind of hard to extricate one from the other at this point.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I tried to think. Who knows? I mean, I never thought it would have been gays and transgenders that we would be relying on the based Muslims to resist. Because the thing is, like, with the Birmingham stuff, where and Jess Phillips actually went down to this, and I've got a video brewing on this. It's amazing.
Okay.
But the Muslim protesters initially started protesting, saying, "Well, we don't think that homosexuality or like information about homosexuality is something you should be giving to 5-year-old children, 6-year-old children."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm inclined to agree. A 5 or 6-year-old does not need to know anything about this. It's not an issue. But then it started getting ideological, and like, Muslim protesters would turn up in a truck yelling, "You can't be gay and a Muslim." And so it's like, oh fuck.
Okay.
So it's proper theological stuff there. And like identitarian as well, fully identitarian. And so the Pandora's box has been opened, and these protests started in Birmingham, but now they've gone nationwide. So we now have to support the based Muslims against the fight against cultural degeneracy.
But there's so many aspects to this that it's hard to say like where one starts and the other one ends and whatnot. Yeah. Because sure, how can we defeat political correctness? Well, okay, how is that not linked to identitarianism, and how is that not linked to protecting multiculturalism? And there are so many chains that I don't know how to untangle it.
Don't know, man. I'm just gonna have to keep going slowly but surely.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not good. Dude, they went through their long march. We're gonna have to go through our long march. That's the way it's got to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it was the most stupid quote in history must have been that guy, I can't remember his name, but whoever he was, that declared that we're now at the end of history. Remember that?
Yes. Yeah. As if liberal democracy would be it forever. So,
yeah. The end of history. No. That's hubris.
Yeah, that's the most ridiculous statement, isn't it?
But that was a really respected philosopher who said that, right?
I can't remember. I thought it was a diplomat or something.
Well, it was some sort of respected person. Otherwise, it wouldn't have become such a big quote. But
who said it?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Oh, it's a French philosopher who first said it, but I thought there was a diplomat who said it. Oh God, loads of people have said it actually. Okay, well,
I just remember them declaring.
Marx said that, and a bunch of others have said that.
Right. The way the time I remembered from is they said it in conjunction with the wall coming down in Berlin, basically.
Yeah.
That's like, oh, this is the end of history.
Yeah.
Now we've reached the end times. Right? Yeah,
Well,
sure we have, dude.
yeah, no, nothing of the sort. But right, I'm gonna head off, Max. We're nearly up.
Yeah. I think we're done. Richard Thomas just sent $2, and then he didn't have a message, and then we're all caught up. So,
Cool.
I guess we should call it a day and call it a successful stream, and even if we fucked up the beginning.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what the hell Google Hangouts, man.
Well, it's probably my fault.
Yeah.
We'll say that. All right, man. So thank you all for your support, guys, for watching, and thank you for your donations. Okay, there's a last minute super chat, so I'll do that. Why do we continue labeling each other left and right? Doesn't it just activate tribalism and divide us even more? From Jonas B. Ingrens, something Swedish. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. I don't have the answer for you there, man.
Well, I think it does, but the political divide is the left-right political spectrum is just like, I don't know. It's a bad way of representing ideology.
It is because it doesn't represent. The fact that you can just go from being right, and then you want less government, and then all of a sudden you're supposed to be really far right. You want a lot of government. That doesn't make any sense. So the scale is it would be much better to talk about authoritarianism and libertarianism or something on that scale.
Yeah, it's well, right, okay.
But I guess
I am gonna have to go, man. Because I'm just dying.
That's a whole other discussion.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
So we'll just end the stream. So again, thank you guys for showing up. Thank you for the support and your donations, and I will see you next time. And please subscribe to my channel and get on my Discord also, because that's a lot of fun. I will see you there.